Hey guys, my name is Dakota Young. Today I will be interviewing my friend Jordan Bernard. I actually did go on tour with him this summer. He was the tour manager. And my producer for this project is Caitlyn Drazen. And we're gonna jump right into this. And I know Jordan's already here.
Yep. Hey,
Well,
how are you?
Jane, we love that. I'm good. How are you?
I got the memo.
Beautiful. Why don't you tell everyone a bit about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Jordan. Fun fact, I graduated UCF in 21, 27 years old, and I've been working in the touring industry for 5 years now, creative partnerships for almost six. And yeah, I enjoy what I do and I love doing it.
I love that. What jobs did you have before your career with touring and talent agencies?
So before touring, I worked in banking. I worked for a bank called Chase. Not something I really wanted. I'm sorry.
Said I have that bank.
Uh, Awesome. Not something I enjoyed doing. But I did it while I was getting into the industry while I was in college. I also dabbled a little bit in A&R. So basically, what that is, artist and repertoire. I worked between songwriters and artists, basically finding artists and finding songwriters, pairing them together, sending them to producers for a final product. So I worked for a guy named Joey Harris, which he's a senior vice president of Janet Jackson's label. And so basically what I did, I basically scouted talent for him. And yeah.
Okay. Are there any artists that you worked with that we might know?
I don't know. I did that a while back. Under Joey Harris, I helped scout for some singing competitions that you may know, called The Four. That was on Fox.
Okay,
And
yes.
then there was also a show called NBC Songland, which I helped scout songwriters for. So um, the songwriters that sorry, not the songwriters, the musicians on The Four, I scouted two of them that made it to like the first season and they filmed the first episode. While I was working with Joey, there was this one guy who was a duo that I found on Instagram. They go by the name Jake and Zach. They were basically brothers, songwriters. I went to the studio with them, and right now they're signed to Atlantic. Their Jay goes by the name JVKE.
Okay.
I don't
I
know if
know
you know who
exactly
that
what
is. Yeah,
you're
so he
talking
has a
about.
song. He has a song out now called Golden Hour, which was trending on TikTok and Instagram, stuff like that. So he's probably the one that you would know that I've worked with.
I definitely know who he is. I
You
don't
know
know
the
if
name of
I've
the track.
listened to Golden Hour, but I have heard his other music.
Okay, awesome.
How did you work your way up? Did you start with a different role with the company?
With the touring company, yes, I started from the bottom. Literally, I started as a runner, so my job was basically just running around, making sure everything ran smoothly. As I said, I did it for 5 years. So the first year I did that. The second year I went into booking. So I booked all the hotels for the tour, which was really fun, I think.
You
And
think?
then and the third year I went on to being a talent manager. So I was in charge of all the talent on the tour, making sure that everything was going smooth for them. Fourth year, I became the director of operations, which essentially is just a little position under the tour manager. I did everything from booking, routing, making sure that we had the bus, making sure the hotels were up to par because talent would complain if we had subpar hotels. Doing the RFPs, everything for the hotels. And then my last year with the company, I became tour manager, which was the year that you were on.
Yes, I was assistant tour manager
Yeah.
for the tour that he's talking about. So I got him coffee. He paid for it, he got me coffee, but I ran and got it.
Um,
It's those coffee shops are definitely the reason that I don't drink Starbucks coffee anymore because it was
I
just
know.
better.
Yeah, that was some good coffee.
What was your favorite part about touring besides the coffee?
Besides the coffee, my favorite part would definitely be, being able to see different cities. Not everyone can say they've traveled around the country. And I'm not even from the US. I was born in Jamaica. So coming to the US and then being able to see 40 states, and I think it's something that I'm proud of. And yeah,
Definitely something you should be proud of. What was your favorite city you've been to?
favorite city, that would be New Orleans, or as they say, New Orleans. I like New Orleans because I went there during Mardi Gras. So that was I never would have thought that I've seen it on TV,
Mhm.
but being there was actually fun.
I would love to go to that.
There's a lot of beads. They like people throw beads from the from the balconies and
I
yeah.
actually did a report about that once, and I talked about the beads because they're very toxic for the environment.
But yeah, they have a special meaning when they throw the beads at you. But yeah, keep it PG.
I love it. What's the craziest thing that has happened to you on tour?
Craziest thing. Um, I would say being followed by fans. So the fans would follow the tour bus and they would show up at our hotels. And the hotels would not have that. They threatened to kick us out of the hotels because all the fans were at the hotels causing disrupting the visitors. So I think that would be the craziest moment.
I'm so glad we didn't have to deal with that.
Nah. Now we had a really good bus driver. His name was Dave,
Okay.
and he knew how to drive that 40-foot bus like a Toyota Prius. Like he was he was swerving around corners and yeah.
Insane. Uh, so going back on you being tour manager, what are some complications that you faced?
Say that again.
Going back to you being tour manager, what are some complications that you faced?
Complications on tour. I would say one of the hardest things. There's so many different personalities on tour, and being able to mesh with all of them and having a good team. Another thing would be the venues. Um, Venues can cause a lot of problems, even though because at the start of the day, usually 3 days before you're advancing the venues, and a lot of times you can send emails upon emails to venues letting them know hey, I'm going to be in your city in 3 days. Let's have all these ready. And on the day of the event, they show up late, they open the door late, and then that causes your show to go, to be delayed, and that causes the fans, the performers, to be unhappy. So
That would definitely be a struggle and having to deal with all the fans then as well for the time.
yeah, because I know, especially in a lot of the shows that I do, we have a younger audience. And so they come with parents, and then you have the parents. The
It's
parents are the ones that are
mostly the
crazy. They'll
fans.
they'll they'll complain over every little thing.
And the venues too, you have the certain time you're still supposed to be out, and it doesn't matter if
Yeah.
they start you late.
Yeah, because a lot of times venues will double book, and what that means is that there's another show right after us. If we don't have a later show and we start earlier in the day, they have another show after us. So even if they started late, technically we have to be out by the time that they told us because they have another show. So it
It's
becomes unfair to us.
not a good time.
No, not at all.
As tour manager, what would a typical day look like for you while on tour?
While on tour, yeah, as I said, just making sure everything, I mean, the role of the tour manager is just making sure that everything runs smoothly and doing all the coordination. So, advancing the venues before you get there, making sure that they have cases of water, a merch station, the tables, the chairs, they have the run of days, making sure that everything is in place before we get there. And then while we're there, making sure that every team member on the tour, whether it be merch, sound, the VIP meet and greet, the loaders, the runners, the security, just making sure that everything is in place and making sure that everyone is having, a smooth day.
Set list, the lineups.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I don't normally do that, but this year I did that. Yeah.
He would do them on our way to the venues.
Yeah, he called me out. Which should have been done the night before, but
We golf happened and we bowling got in the way some
I
nights.
know. Yeah, you can all one thing about touring, it is work, but make sure you're having fun.
Yes. Oh, what was your favorite event that you've produced?
My favorite event that I produced was an event called Social Fuse Live. It was an event with a bunch of influencers, and we did it in London. So I had influencers from Germany, influencers from London. I brought four creators from the US there. So that was pretty dope.
What creators did you take there from the US?
From the US, I worked with these guys at the time, in 2019. They were called the Jersey Trio or the Jersey Boys. So it was Mattia Polibio, Alejandro Rosario, Alvaro, and a guy named Luca, mostly Luca.
Okay. What made you choose London to host an event?
Funny story. So I had a business partner. His name was Kai. He lives in London. He's an influencer himself. He reached out to me and sent me a video of a free meet and greet that was happening in London with a bunch of London creators, and the entire park was crowded. And I was like, okay, I've done these events in the US before. Why not try and do something elsewhere? I've never been to London, and the first time I'm going is for business. So I was like, okay, cool, let's do this. I set up everything, and I was
Okay.
like, I need to take advantage of a different country.
I would love to go to another country, especially for an event to host. That would
No,
be.
it's fun. The flight sucks, but it's fun.
He brought me back a key. Wow. He brought me back a keychain, guys.
Yeah, I did. I did.
Now that now I know that you stepped away from tours and events, and you have stepped into talent agency. How did you end up with the company you're with now?
To be honest, I literally begged. So what I do right now, before I got this job, I lived on LinkedIn. I'm sure we both know we learned in school. LinkedIn is like an awesome connecting tool. Everyone from the major brands, everyone is on LinkedIn. And once you get out there and foster relationships, that can help you go a long way. So I met the CEO. No, actually, for this job, I think I posted my resume on my LinkedIn. I was like, okay, I'm going to land a job this week. I'm going to speak it into existence. And the CEO of that company reached out to me and interviewed me. And 3 days later, I landed the job. So
Mhm. So
you
I'm
gotta
gonna have to do
you gotta
that.
speak it into, huh?
So I'm gonna have to do that now.
You can try.
This is true. Do you currently manage anyone now?
I have a roster of 9 people. Right now, I was assigned 4 gamers. Um, we're like Minecraft people and some other variety games. And then I also have more lifestyle and beauty person that I have on my roster currently.
So what does your typical day-to-day look like then?
With a talent manager or agent. All right, so technically what I do, it's so much different than the touring landscape, and I had to adjust to it. Basically, my job is looking for brands, helping the creator to monetize on different platforms, whichever platform they're associated with, and finding brands that would fit their niche. So my job is literally, it's a talent agent, but it's also in brand partnerships.
Okay, that's cool. How is the work environment? I know you just started, but is it more collaborative or independent?
Right now, I'm doing this remotely because I am based in Orlando. So the company's not based in Orlando. So I
Where's the
mean,
company
so
out of?
far, I mean, I just started, so it's not very collaborative right now, but we do have, meetings on Zoom or Google Meets here and there.
Okay. Where's the company based out of?
That's based in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Mhm.
Do
But
you,
they have talent across the US and the UK.
Are you planning on relocating, or are you still gonna just work remotely through Orlando?
No, I love Orlando. So no, I last this year I was planning on relocating to LA because a lot of my clients are in LA and a
Mhm.
lot of my friends are in LA. But the LA lifestyle, and I know a lot of people watching maybe you going into entertainment and you dream of going to LA, but it's just, I mean, yeah, there is plenty more opportunities in LA, but the lifestyle and the people, it's just not for me. There's a lot of opportunists, and you'll realize that when I'm sorry if anyone here is from LA. And you're yeah, okay. But yeah, LA is just not for me. And so I decided to come back and stay in Orlando. And it's just a 4 hour flight. So
Fair enough. I know the influencer marketing economy is growing rapidly. Brands aren't using traditional methods anymore. They want influencers, and typically a lot of them do go through TikTok. Could you elaborate more on that?
yeah, so um as you said, the traditional brands, the traditional methods of marketing aren't, sufficient anymore. Because now influencers have specific niches and it's cheaper for someone to use an influencer than to go, purchase a 40-second ad or a 30-second ad or a billboard because no one really, watches that. So
Even with like magazines,
yeah,
really buying them anymore. Print media, as it is
yeah,
still alive, it's not
it's
on the up and up.
and the influencer, it's the economy for influencer marketing is booming. I think I read an article that it's supposed to go up to at least 14 or at least $1 billion soon or something like that.
Okay. What brands have you
But
worked with?
I've worked with brands like Guess. I've worked with Bang Energy, which is located here in Florida. I think it's in Pembroke Pines. I've worked with Manscaped. I've worked with Dr. Squatch. Currently doing partnerships with Sandbox, a couple of games, so like Call of Duty, Activision,
That's
stuff like that.
How do brands pick influencers?
So there's so many different ways and a brand can pick it. It just depends on the type of campaigns. So there's awareness campaigns, there's call to action campaigns. So it really just depends. So let's say, for example, if a campaign is uh, an awareness campaign, most times brand are just they're just going to look on impressions and audience reach.
Okay.
A lot of times when picking influencers as well, they go through the analytics. Most times brands will ask for analytics on the influencer after pitching them. So that entails the demographics, their age, their gender, what city their percentage of fan base is located, and basically their reach, how many impressions they get per post or how many story views they get per story. And that's for Instagram. If it's for YouTube, they're going to look on similar things. All the apps have the similar analytics. So,
Remember,
so it depends on the type of campaign that they're scouting for, and what exactly the goal of the campaign is. And all these are basically KPIs is what they call
we love KPIs.
them.
I deal with those at my job now.
Yeah.
Do you have any upcoming projects?
Right. Oh, sorry. I think my Zoom went away. Right now, I am planning more tours for next year. I have some clients that are mostly in the Latinx community, and so they want me to do a tour in certain cities that are mostly of Latinx. So I
Uh,
think that's what I'll be doing next year. And I also want to go back international. I think that'll be cool.
I fully support it. If you need workers, know where to
my
find
my
me.
my dream is to, since I went to London, my dream was just to take it further and go into like Paris and Germany and Italy.
Let's go to Italy. Do you have any advice or anything you'd like to share to aspiring entertainment professionals?
Yes. I would say don't take no for an answer. Starting off in your career, you're gonna hear a lot of no's, but don't let that push you down. Just keep going because as they say, cliche, but once one door closes, another one opens. So if you hear no from one company, maybe that job was just not for you. I heard a lot of no's in the beginning. And so yeah, I think that's something
Where you
that
are
you can
now.
something, huh?
So then look where you are now.
Exactly. That's something you can live by. Just don't be upset or depressed or anything like that just because you didn't get one job. There's plenty more out there. Keep applying, send out your resumes, and make connections. That's one thing I told you about LinkedIn in the beginning. LinkedIn is a powerful tool, and I know most people are probably graduating now. So you did your internships, and that really helps.
Connections are definitely everything.
No, and I always say too, it's not, that term that everyone says it's about who you know.
Mm.
Well, I like to flip that around and I like to say it's about who knows you. So you can know a lot of people that doesn't guarantee that you're going to get somewhere in life, but it's about who knows what your worth is and, you know, what you have to bring to the table. So publishing that and making everyone aware of what you're you know, yeah.
I know Jordan.
I think I talked too
If
much.
Jordan didn't know me, I wouldn't have gone on tour this summer. But Jordan knows what kind of worker I am, and that connection
Mhm.
right there lost
Exactly.
a lot.
Exactly.
I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank
Of
you so much, Jordan, for joining us, and thank you to
course.
everyone who did view this. I hope you guys have a great day.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.